So much cotton everywhere. Drifted in driveway. I thought we got rid of all this snowy stuff. I wish you could really see, well, earlier it was a whiteout. But if you try to mow this yard, yeah, you're a cotton ball. Q-tip swab. Yeah, one of them. Well, after all that paint work and all that fun, it's time to put some things together. Time to get some of these pretty blue things on this pretty white thing and put that pretty black thing underneath it. So it kind of rolls around and does trailer things. And then start re-rigging the whole thing out and make new bunks and wiring harness and new lights. And so we're going to tear into this and start reassembling the trailer. It's had plenty of time to dry, so I'm sure it's hard as concrete by now. And so, well, let's get after it. See what kind of fun we're going to have. Oh yeah, minor detail. One of the things that set us back, these are the rubber bushings that were in the spring packs for the, yeah, these are extremely junk. And even one of the bolts was even bent. Those are the bolts right there. And one of those bolts was even bent. So seriously, what the hell do you have to hit so hard to bend a half-inch bolt? I mean, damn. Well, the boss says no rusty bolts will go back in place, which these are all bolts for the rollers and bunks and such. So he said, nope, I want all new hardware, clean. Most of it I want stainless, forever hardware, and some cadmium plated is okay. Ooh, pretty gold chains. And the boat trailer's got some bling. But yeah, boss says new hardware. Boss gets what boss wants. Elvis has left the building. Well, she's rolling. A lot of things have to happen here. There's all new hardware going to go in there, but without the fenders, I can't go any further on this. So I'm going to work on the center rigging rollers, put the tongue on, which is basically going to be solid bolted at this point, not pivotable like it was. They had a pin you could pull out, and this was a tilt bed, but that has been deleted. All the things that go on the end of the tongue, like the hitch and all that stuff, will go on. Like I said, all the center rollers, I did clean. Well, one of them was really bad shape, and I put it on the wire wheel and spun the hell out of it, cleaned it up, made it appropriate. But I wash everything. And these rims are freaking gross. I mean, they are just nasty, nasty, nasty. I mean, they're supposed to be white. They're completely, both of them are completely grease soaked, and those will be going outside to the pressure washer and getting degreased and washed and then go back on. The lug nuts, well, guy could go out and buy the man brand new ones, I suppose, if that's what he wants. I'll ask. But for me, probably just dust blast them quick and throw some black paint on them and try to go as cheap as possible versus dropping another 20 bucks in hardware. This pile of hardware was $86 here, but we do have all these cute little brackets that got to go on too, and all that stuff's got to go on for the tail lights and marker lights. The wiring harness has to be all plumbed into this thing, which is going to be a bit complicated due to these gussets and stuff, so I'll have to go in and around, and then all that stuff being put in enclosed. Another thing I'm going to mention real quick is when I do boat trailers, from this point, well, not this point, but several years ago, I stopped because I got sick and tired of fighting trailer grounds constantly. Okay, so what I do is the white wire that comes back, I let it go back as far as it goes until it's got a split for the two taillights. Then I split it myself, send two white wires going to the taillights and marker lights and whatever else needs, and I ground the lights themselves. So no longer do you even need the trailer to ground. You're just going to ground it right to the light socket, and that's the best way to do it. That way you don't have flickering lights. That way you don't have problems whether or not things are grounded. And if you got a real nice painted trailer like this one is, you don't want to be scratching all over it to get it ground so it rusts right away. I mean, that's just stupid. So I started doing this with all the show restores I did probably 4 or 5 years ago. And so I just carry on with that. But anyway, moving right along, we're going to kind of go to the next level of stupid. Oh, I forgot to do that 1 hour later thing. Yeah, that's about what it took me to put the axle back in it and the brackets and get all that, out of the booth and stuff like that. So yeah, the booth is actually getting set up to, my son's going to use it, the one-handed paint man, and he's going to paint a bumper for his Cummins, from his twin turbo Cummins. He blacked out all of his bumpers and he bought a brand new bumper, and he's coming in tonight to hang that up and paint that. So I might throw that in here just for giggles. So talk to you soon, I would assume. Well, step next, or was that next step? I forget. These crustified looking things can't go on a beautiful trailer. So something needs to be done with that. And I sure as hell felt really bad having to even slam these skanky looking grease coated slime balls on this trailer. It just made me want to hurl. I mean, really? That pretty? That ugly? Nope. That's gonna end. The other one's just as bad, actually. So this is headed to the parts washer first, and then degreased and turned white again. When this thing leaves here, it's going to go to the show quality, like it never happened. Okay, we're back on the trailer deal here, and as I showed you guys before, that these original bushings are absolutely just crushed to death. And I did have to put one of these bolts in my press to straighten it. But Tony wanted me to replace it with stainless. I'm on the fence whether I should just... These are grade 8 bolts, I believe. I don't believe they're 5s. But anyway, one of them was bent. How in the hell... What do you got to hit to bend one of these in the middle of the end of the bolt, to bend the end of the bolt? Actually, I think it was this one. It's straighter, but it was actually the end of the bolt was bent. So somebody hit something damn hard. Okay, so these bushings are the rubber ones from the factory back in '76, and as you can see, they're absolutely toast. And yeah, so now the only thing that I found on the interweb to replace them was these machine nylon ones, and they are going to be a very tight fit. Ideally, putting this in my press and pushing these in would be the ideal way to do that. I do have a little trick, which I can't hold the camera and do that at the same time, is I get them in there straight, tap them very lightly, because you can mushroom this stuff super frickin' easy. Put a metal plate over the top of it so you're not impacting this, and use a dead blow mallet. So yeah, the shot-filled dead blow mallets. And if you have a soft side dead blow mallet, you probably could get away with it. I might try to start it with that. Actually, I'm just going to go get that. So those of you that don't know what that is, oops, wrong wrap. That's this guy. This is a dead blow mallet. And you can use them for maracas in the band. That's my into, I guess, Dead Dodge Garage's band. Anyway, backup guitar? Nah, maybe. Let's see. So that's what this is going to have to happen next. But there's even a new and improved problem. Because just can't be easy, right? And have these fill up this stirrup just perfectly. Well, what I found out is it's going to take 2 washers per side because this stuck out, okay? Well, what's left of it did. This one's kind of fatter. But that stuck out, okay? And that's equal to a couple of washers per side. So now I'm going to have to go in here and I'm going to have to put the thickness of 2 washers on either side to take up the slack, or this axle is going to be going all the freaking time. And I don't really want to crank this thing down and bend this whole thing up. So I will get a tolerance with it. The spring will move slightly. I mean, super freaking slightly, but not very much. That in the back is where it moves because it just goes through a stirrup in the back. So nothing in this thing could be simple. It's all time consuming, pain in the ass stuff to get stuff right, because when you're completely rebuilding stuff from what was made in a day, 90% of these things aren't manufactured today. So as a matter of fact, they don't even make the springs like this anymore. They come with a pressed in bushing. The loop for the spring is much smaller. So if you were to replace these springs, yeah, it's got a 1/2-inch bolt that goes through the center, but it's a completely different bushing. The spring pack is completely different. It's just, they make stuff different than the way they did back in the day. Now, comparing the new to the old, yeah, well, this made it this long. Still don't know how the hell you bent that. Wow. You got to hit something really freaking hard at speed. You know, like a giant chuck hole, possibly back off a ramp and get a wheel stuck, maybe. But I'm thinking a chuck hole at 75 miles an hour behind a Ford pickup. Could have happened. Anyway, so I'm going to leave me to my fun. I'll get back with you in a minute. Excuse me while I'm panting. So those bushings, these, don't fit for jack diddly squat, and dead blow mallet was not the answer. Only got them in about, maybe half the way, and they said, nope, we're done. So I took a puller and reversed the mechanism more or less. Instead of the pulling something off, we're pushing something in. So we're using this threaded shaft with a couple of washers on the end of it to push this in place, and that is the only way. And then I put a 3/8 metal plate on the back side so I can control my stop point. And of course these aren't quite long enough, so washer shims. So yeah, if you got to replace this, it's at least a 2-hour job, bar none. A pain in the ass. You're only going to want to do it once in the lifetime of your boat trailer. I'm going to tell you that right now. So, but Farm Boy, reverse engineer things, make stuff work. Take a puller, create a press. Lesson number 1, 157,000. Okay, we're back after that ordeal. Managed to get these shims in here. So we got the axle centered, and like I said, this is just a slide on the back. They don't even make them like this anymore that I'm aware of. Maybe, possibly, I don't know. Most of them have shackles. These are just a slide thing, so it's just a free float. The spring free floats in here as it needs to go, but it still has to be able to flex here, otherwise it's going to compress and not want to come back. So it needs to move. So these have to be just a certain way, so they're going to be a little bit of movement, but not much. Now, another thing is some bling happened. Well, that, and I'm going to do a shameless plug for a True Mods LED lights. These are the ones I like the most. because they have not one singular LED, they have multiple LEDs, and your signal light and or brake light is in the center here, so it is super bright. And their marker light side, and they actually have a revision for a license plate too, which Minnesota, we don't use those things. And I really like their LED side lights, so those have been added as well. The next step that's going to happen here is we're going to be putting the tongue in, and which amounts to 3 stainless bolts up here, and then a tongue goes in, and we can add the safety chains, the tongue coupler. I was trying to think of that the other day, and I'll be damned if I can come up with that name, but that's what it's called. So, but we also have some other exciting things we're doing, and I'll be showing how I run the whole wiring harness and how I split it, where I split it, and running grounds to each individual light, so no longer using the trailer as ground, and that is extremely important. The wheels are cleaned up so they can go on here. Did wire wheel clean up the old lug nuts, and they have been painted in Mercury Propeller Black, which is really a very bulletproof paint. Now there is a trick to not mark up your lug nuts with a socket, and that is just put a piece of, you can go up one socket size if you want, like go to a metric size up, and use a piece of, like a shop rag. You could put a shop rag over them and stick them into a bigger socket. Or you can put, we've done them on muscle cars where we just take and put a piece of wax paper, which it tears up the paper, but it isn't so thick that you have to jump a socket size. It depends. It just depends on the bolt. It depends on everything, related to that. But that's a quick hack to not mark up when you're putting bolts in, like if you're restoring a muscle car or something, and you don't want to mark up the bolts as you put it back together. You just put a piece of cellophane or baggie or something over the top of the nut area, and it doesn't mark up the paint. And you can get the bolts tight. So that's that situation. The boss said he wanted all new rollers. Well, this style of roller is just fine. I'm going to mention that. I ended up having to get sidetracked here. I have some other things that are going to be going on here too. However, this handy dandy little thing isn't going to be that way anymore. We are going to put these in. Luckily, I had these at the shop. And these are PAL nuts. You just basically slide them on there, beat them on there, and they do their thing. These are good to go. But he wanted new rollers because these are really in bad shape. They're just beat to hell. And I couldn't find pretty blue ones like I saw advertised. But there was pretty yellow ones. So now I just got to get these goddamn stickers off here. So, which, yeah, that's always fun. So, and before there was a big, huge V-block, but they only sell them in 4-inch, not 3-inch wide. And so this is what it would have had from the factory, which would have been what it was up in the front at one point in time. I assume, for the whole concept of power loading and what have you, that it was changed so it had a bigger, wider catch for the front when it hit the stand. But Tony's informed me that this will be hand loaded for the rest of its life, so there won't be any of that need to do that. I am keeping the original. This is getting replaced, obviously, but I am keeping these original things. And just push the pin out, put the new roller on, like this over here. This has been removed, and the shaft is somewhere. Oh, there's the pin that it's just a regular roll pin, and then the shaft will go through, and it will go like that at some point. So, and so that's just something that's going to get done here. The reason I had to save these and not replace these is because these have a weird freaking measurement in comparison to what you would buy at the store, which would require me to drill new holes, and I refuse to drill any holes in a freshly painted trailer. That's just not going to happen. So that's why I can replace the rollers easy enough. So that is what's going on in that instance. I'm still tripping over conduit because I don't have time to finish my lighting in here, which is extremely irritating. Oh, here's the shaft. Duh. This is the shaft, and they'd slide right on there, just piece of cake. Which I'm gonna put this over here so it's good to go when I get a moment to put this together. So, next thing that I'm going to be doing here is there's going to be some more painting, which I don't even know if I have the booth lights on, and no, I do not. But we'll see if the camera works. These are the last 4 pieces, and I'm sorry it's dark in here because I don't have the booth lights on, but these are the last sandblasted 4 pieces for the winch stand assembly, and there's a brand new winch that's going to go on that as well. So those will be going into paint in this video, probably. So I ended up getting sidetracked with countless other things here, and I got to get this thing together and get this out of the shop because there's other things that are going to be happening after this video, and to the boat itself, and the boat should have been in here a while back, but I got to stop breaking things. Oh, yeah, before I forget it, if you're wondering what this is my idea I came up with years and years and years ago, because I always had, all these vintage cool boats, and I always drive a truck, right? Well, now I have muscle cars to pull them, Furies and station wagons and cool stuff like that. But here's the deal. You can't see what you're doing when you're backing up. So these, surprise, surprise, happy Father's Day, Dad. These slide in there like that, and you have a flag. So one on either side. So now he has a Chevy truck, so he can't see this trailer behind his truck. But now he can, because he has this. And also it's a nice guide for when you're trying to bring the boat in, so you can at least tell exactly where center is. These rollers, these center rollers are going to be on here in the next little video clip. They're going to be on here. The center rollers will be on, the tongue will be on, and that will be the next step in that. And then maybe we'll bounce to some paint work. There is some really cool paint work going on regarding the fenders, and I'm not letting the kitten out of the bag on that just yet. So that's been a pain in the ass to come up with a formula for how we're doing that too. So we'll be going through that. Maybe in the next video I'll just make a custom paint video all to its lonesome. So yeah, that's where we're at. Oh yeah, Tony, before I forget it, I don't know if you can see this, but this rim, though it looks brandly new, is bent. I don't know if you can see that, but there, maybe this is a better angle. Yeah, that's bad. Just saying. Oh yeah, so is this one. Not as bad, but future thought, you might want to replace these sometime. I had the overwhelming urge to paint something. These are tongue brackets. They hold a winch stand and basically look pretty in the front of the boat trailer. And so this one connects to that one and held up by these. Yeah. So rector set. And this has a purpose. I'm going to get to that later. But this is going to be what's called a sprout panel. So we're going to epoxy prime this right along with the rest of it to basically give it a seal coat for a base. Both sides. In case we don't like what we did on one side, we flip it over and do something else. So I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag, but that's going to be the next phase. So let's go paint something. Well, time has passed. Things have happened. And now we even have some bling. And, bet you didn't know this, Tony, but that little hole back there is to hang your safety chains. Just saying. Now, these here, I've got these bolted to the inside. The nuts are on the inside, so it's really clean looking versus mostly just people ran a bolt all the way through. But this has 4 nuts on either side, and it's not going to crush or crumple like it did before. Well, there's no Ford pickup trying to destroy it. So, and 6 whiskeys and 15 beers. So, I'm just kidding. I'm not picking on Tony's dad. Well, I am. Anyway, so this part's done, and as we travel down the long road, we see some marbling, a dilly decal. And by the way, okay, all the rollers are on, and they're about as color matched as they can get because I just that way. A little tech tip, when you put your rollers on, if you're trying to align them, set your back roller. Now these are all marked. I marked them. Oops, God, I hate that. I marked them before I took them off, so I had a general location, and I'll redo these when I put the boat on here because I'm doing keel repair, and I'm quite positive that, well, I'm going to have to build up a lot of the keel up in this area, so this is going to move for sure. Those should be fine, but I may choose to lower them down in the trailer because I'm doing things to the bunks differently. So, just a quick overview. If you're setting these up for the first time, you want to get them aligned, you're going to want to grab a 2x4 or I'd use a 1x3, same difference, and get them aligned so you can easily roll all of your rollers at the same time by moving this board, and you're good. So that's your good starting point for that. So, like I said, things have happened. And there's more things that are going to happen. We don't have no fendas yet. So, that's a video all by itself coming soon. I'm going to fly poop. Really? Damn your eyes. I need to get fly poop off of a frickin' fresh paint job. Windex! Anyway, so there's a couple other things that got to come on here. We got to get the tongue on here and the jack on here and so on there. And I think I'm going to buy Tony a brand new jack just because it's shiny and beautiful. And then a spare tire holder. So that's all got to go get put on yet. But we're at the point right now where I'm going to pull the wiring harness. So I just kind of wanted to show this quick little update. And I don't want to spend a lot of time on this. So I'll be back with more stuff. So here's Rooster's hot tip of the day. Drill. If you've ever got to run wire through a channel, like a tube of a trailer, and you want it all uniform and everything else, take and put all your wire, get equal lengths, and put it in your drill, and go very slowly until you get it so it's nice and uniform throughout the whole thing. Don't overdo it. But now you can slide it through a channel and it won't unwind, and you're just going to have a lot better time. Also, if you're going to put it in a wire loom, yeah, it's the bomb.